Welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I'm Sharon.
I'm Christy.
Hope all of you are doing well today. Today we're going to continue on with relationships, and last week was a little more serious in that this week we want to focus on those things that bring joy to your relationship, the things that you do as a couple, or today we're talking about that kind of relationship along with friendships and things like that. So it's going to be a little montage of stuff, but predominantly it's about where do we find those joyful moments and where do we create those memories and how does that help strengthen our relationships?
No matter what kind they are. Bringing fun to the relationship and exploring the relationship even further because you get to know each other's interests.
And I think that's always an important part too. I think that sometimes we think we know people's interests in a short period of time, but I find that with Christy and I, even after all this time, we still find, or I'll find she'll say, oh, well, she likes this. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't know you like that. But I think it's just a continuation. I think the reason interest changes because we're growing as individuals too. So we start to get rid of stuff in the past that worked for us and we start incorporating new things in. And I think that's really a fun piece of the relationship as well.
We evolve over time and it's really fascinating to me to see that. And I think that it's neat to see people grow. And I think it strengthens relationships.
And I think back to, when Christy and I first met, we had a friendship. I remember her talking about the thing of travel and, why it was important to her. But I didn't realize how important it was to me or the value that it would have until we started doing that together. And now it's become such a love and a passion for us. I think she had the passion before. And I don't know, growing up, we didn't do a lot of vacation. We just didn't do a lot of that kind of stuff. And so I worked a lot. And so it just wasn't like in my radar maybe. And then, when I got with her and she would talk about that love, I think then it kind of ignited me just a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. My family traveled, mostly just to see family. And I always enjoyed traveling, period. But when I was at home, I lived in my books and always dreamt about going different places. And, it was always one of my big dreams when I was younger to go to Paris. So it's really cool to me that we've now made that happen.
And I think with couples, it's the important part of it is whether it's couples or those friendships we have that are really important to us is sharing those commonalities. But sometimes it's you having an interest that the other person doesn't know that they could possibly have an interest for. One of the things is the time that Chris and I have been together, she has not been a sports person. She's always told me, I don't like sports. Well, I don't think she ever clarified that. She doesn't like football. I know people are going, oh, who doesn't like football? She does not like it. The little bit we watched it, I have to keep explaining it to her. So to her, it's, how do you say it?
Yeah, football's a hard no for me. I do not get into that. It's not that I didn't like sports as far as watching it and that. I've never been a player of sports, really. So
and true. And so when fast forward and I am a lover of sports. We would watch sports as a family. Playing sports was really fun. And then so for me, I was there like, okay, well, we're not watching football. Well, I guess we're just not going to watch sports. Then she comes and tells me, I really like baseball. And this was what?
I don't know, about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. They're like, what?
Well, I would watch it whenever it was on in different places, but we didn't watch it together. And part of that was just being considerate of the other person in the relationship, because I felt like if I was saying, I cannot stand to watch your football, you shouldn't have to watch my baseball. That was my logic.
Well, and not understanding that I truly just love watching sports. I love how athletic people are. So we've been exploring that. So we watch a lot more baseball. And so that's been kind of fun. The other thing is we, once again, surprise, surprise, MMA, UFC, I've liked. And then she comes out and says, I like that. They're like, what? Who are you?
But that's the thing, as people go along, I feel like that, you find out different interests that you have, and it's a self-exploration, and it's really awesome when you get to explore it with someone. So I'm really glad that MMA is something that you already liked, because I really enjoy it too.
Well, and I think that's the thing, it's having those conversations with the people that you're involved with, and sharing those ideas. And when we talk about it, we don't realize that we can have, that's an invitation in a way for that person to also explore that, because sometimes they haven't explored it. Sometimes they've explored it, but maybe it was at a different time in their life where they couldn't appreciate it, all those kind of things. We talked about that even on the last one with hiking and being outdoors. Christy grew up in an environment where that just wasn't.
It wasn't a part of what we did.
No. And, I grew up in the San Luis Valley where that's what you did. Once again, as we have this evolutionary thing going on individually and then as a couple, we're finding that there's so much more that we like. Kind of get rid of the other stuff, and that's okay. We don't have to hold on to everything, and sometimes, like for me, watching football is not that important to me that I'm going to go and take a Sunday afternoon and watch football while she's off doing something else. I'd rather we go hiking or we go do stuff that we really enjoy. So I think that's a big thing when we're looking at relationships and trying to find that common ground in it. And of course, we talk about our love of travel, and we've been traveling more in the last.
Probably, well, I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah. Like Christy said, before it would be, we'd go back and see family and stuff like that, but we weren't really vacationing like that. And then when we had I don't even know.
It was actually the ceremony that we had.
Yeah. In 2003. We ended up doing a honeymoon in Vegas and fell in love with it. It became such an important part in our lives. And we didn't know if we were going to love Vegas to the degree that we did.
We really had such a great time, and it was so relaxing, and ended up making many more trips back to Las Vegas with friends and just making tons of memories. And it still holds a special place for us.
It really does. And, the thing is even though we went together, when we went with friends, how much, sometimes you take that for granted. The artist that drew our logo, she went with us to Vegas and we had this amazing time. But because we had been there, we knew the walking, how much you walk in Vegas. She did not pack shoes for that. And so we had to go to this little place outside of the strip, and she got some tennis shoes, and we were off to the races again, and we had this amazing time. We got to hold parrots and stuff, and both of us have a sleeve tattooed on us, and it represents our trips to Vegas with the different people that we went with, and we both have a parrot to represent that time with her. It was just an amazing time, and we've been to Vegas a couple of times with our friend Sandra, who loves to travel, and she became like a traveling friend with us. She's gone to Mexico and Europe with us, and we just have this amazing time because she truly loves travel. I don't know if there's anything that she loves more than travel.
That and food.
Oh yeah, and the dog. And Daisy.
And Daisy the dog, yes. But even when we went to Europe doing the food tour there, that was Sandra's idea, and I'm really glad that she brought that up, because that ended up being one of my favorite things.
And it was interesting, even when she brought that up, Christine and I, they're like, a food tour? I don't know about that. But once again, so grateful for it. It was such an amazing experience. We learned so much and just had an amazing time. So grateful for that. But it's taking those trips. And when you can take a trip and incorporate another love that you have, and another love we have is music. So we got to do a couple of concerts in Vegas. We got to see Shakira in Vegas, which is amazing.
Took a trip with my brother there and got to see 30 Seconds to Mars.
So that's represented on our tattoo as well. Those things, what happens when you do that, I think, is every time you have these experiences with people, you're growing that relationship. It shows an investment in a relationship. And you share a commonality, but not just a commonality, you're sharing a passion, and you're getting to explore that passion with those people. And once again, you get to see it through somebody else's eyes, which is truly amazing. And I think that's that piece that really helps to make those relationships stronger. And I think travel has really helped us to strengthen our relationship.
Definitely. And I mean, for us, that's one of the funnest things I feel like that we do in the relationship. I mean, we have fun together anyway, but travel has really opened the doors for so many new and exciting experiences and adventures. And it makes you grow as a person, I think, but also, like you say, sharing it with someone else. That makes it so much more. I feel like it just brings more to the experience.
And so when we talk about relationships, once again, we're going to have the everyday life stuff that happens. We're going to have those things that like are outside of our control when we have grief and loss or those kind of things, or it can be job, it can be anything. And those things happen. But the thing is not to maximize that and minimize those things that are really joyful for us. It's how do we find a balance within that? And how do we really explore those things? I tell my clients when I start to see them, I say, I take it every 3 to 4 months, I take a vacation. And it's funny because about 3 to 4 months in, my clients will start saying, where are you going to next? Which is kind of cool because they appreciate that. And then wherever I travel, we talk about that. Wherever they travel, we talk about that. That's one of those things that we start to have another commonality with. It's not just the experience that we have together or with the people we go with, but it goes further than that because then we share that experience with others. And so it just kind of has that ripple effect, I think, which is really cool and amazing when we're talking about relationship building and why it's so important for us. Vegas is an important place for us, but Mexico is just, it's our vacation where we veg the entire time. We might do one excursion. For the most part, it's the pool, the beach, pool, back and forth. That's all we do all day long. And just really enjoy that time, that downtime. And we try new things there. We tried paddleboarding in Isla Mujeres, and it was extremely comical. Christy she was mastering it. Oh my goodness. She was out there doing great. And Sandra and I are watching her. And so I'm recording because this is kind of a important thing. And all of a sudden she gets further out where the waves come.
Yeah, I wasn't such a master out there on the waves.
What happened?
I did a face plant. But at least there were 2 kind strangers to come help pick me up.
As they were laughing, I want you to know it really did look funny. And, you can only run so fast in water, so I couldn't get it to her fast enough to assist her. But that we got to have that experience and to try things, and one of the things we do whenever we vacation is we try a new food. That's one of our things. It's an experience that we share together, and it's like a tradition that we've created. And so I tell, if whatever you find those things are that you find joy and happiness in, that, you as a couple or you, whatever that relationship is, if you have that, make those little things that you'll do that become part of your tradition or your thing that enhances those experiences.
And sometimes you have to step outside your comfort zone to do that. And that's what's really cool, I feel like, about travel is because it takes you out of your comfort zone and you get to experience some new things and you find out what you like and maybe some things you don't like, but the experience is memorable.
It is. And it doesn't have to be big things. I mean, we've gotten to where we now pamper ourselves more. This is something that's new and something we probably should have done a lot longer ago. Well, that didn't sound exactly right. But anyway, you know what I meant. We should have started it sooner. One of our things is this, when we vacation too, we try to make a point of having a massage wherever we go. We did not do that in Europe. We probably should have, because there are times in Europe that was a little stressful.
Yeah. Usually because we were pedestrians getting in the way of bicyclists.
Yeah, Amsterdam. Beautiful, beautiful place to be. Absolutely gorgeous. But we all said that we had a little PTSD because we'd hear that little bell and all 3 of us would get all anxious, like, oh my God, where do I go? Where do I run? Because, here if somebody comes up, you go left and you kind of move out of their way. They're everywhere.
And
there's nowhere to move.
They're going to pass on whatever side. They just dominate the road. So just know that if you're a pedestrian, get off the way.
The train system there was, people will tell me, oh my God, the trains in Europe are just amazing. Well, they're amazing, I think, after you learn how to use them. We did not know how to use the train system. We missed our train in Paris. We had to get another ticket. We got on, well, we didn't know where we were going. And so a gentleman helped us and says, no, this is your train. He told us where to go. And then we're waiting there and we see him. He runs back onto this train and he goes, no, you're on the wrong train. You're going to go to some other country. Oh, thank goodness. We are so grateful that he came and assisted us. But like I said, we probably should have done massages there or something because we would have few stressful moments and stuff like that. I think one of the other things is that Christy said we challenge ourselves and we make this a thing that is part of our relationship and challenging and doing different things. We went to Ibiza and we both love water. We love the ocean, which is interesting because, I'm from a landlocked area, born and raised, but absolutely love the ocean. It just does something for us. It's our happy place. And we go to Ibiza, which is absolutely beautiful.
We had a little bit of downtime there, just spending some time at the beach, and we did a boat ride. The boat ride, it was amazing. They took us into some of the caves around there. They went out there and parked for a little bit and just let us hang out and sunbathe and that. And I'm not real brave about getting into the deep part of the ocean. So
me either.
I was not one to just jump off and go swim around out there, but I did take a dunk off the side of the boat. And for me, that was brave to do that. But I loved it so much. The water was so clear and the temperature was so perfect. And that moment sticks out in my mind so much.
I'm still on the boat thinking, oh gosh, she did it. Now I've got to do it because I want to be brave too. And so I did. And she's right. It's such an amazing moment. And it's a moment that we share and it's a moment we can talk about. And it's those shared experiences that really help solidify relationships. It's those moments where we get to laugh together, where we get to be fearless, where we get to be vulnerable, all of those things that we get to do in relationships. That's what helps make them strong, challenging each other to do more, to step outside your comfort zones, but also to know that if I'm asking Christy to step outside her comfort zone, that she has the assurance that I'm going to be there and I'm going to have her back. I think that is what's important, because when you have that degree of trust and stuff in that, then you're okay with sharing and you're okay with doing new things. You're okay with exploring and challenging yourself and being a little more fearless, I guess is the word. But those are some things, travel and music and that. But sometimes it's, what do you find in your home? Because we can't always travel as much as we want, which is kind of a sad thing within itself. But, we have jobs and we have, all that other fun stuff. So we often think of what is it that we can do in our home that is also fun and exciting or offers joy to us. And one of the things is it's rare to be in our home that music is not playing, whether it's music on the radio or whether it's Christy singing. There's music going on.
Usually, yeah.
And the other thing is we both love to dance. So our kitchen is often a place where we dance and we will dance with other people. I always think it's so cool when that happens. We had a friend over and having a glass of wine and dancing. My sister dancing. I live back in the valley. We rented a house and my grandmother came over. It would be my mom's mom. My grandmother loved to dance. And we put on music and we danced and we had this amazing time. And I no longer have my grandmother here. So that's that memory that we created that I can always go back and it helps with that relationship. It reminds you of the value of those people in your life. And my nephew was there and he loves to dance too. And we just danced and had this amazing, amazing time.
And that's what I think is cool, is that even this is about relationships, and those relationships span more than a lifetime, really. those people that have already passed on, there are still those things that you incorporate into your life that bring you joy. And it stems from those experiences that you had with them sometimes. It's not just the joy of the actual act itself, but what you shared with them when they were alive.
Well, and I think that's true. We took a vacation to Disney World with your mom and dad and brother. And I think your dad didn't have the same enthusiasm for going to Disney as we did at first.
Dad didn't take a lot of vacations with us when I was younger. So that was a big deal for him to take a vacation, just actually take that time off and it to just be a relaxing kind of thing, even though it was an amusement park and he wasn't big on amusement parks. But he was really pleasantly surprised by Disney. He had such a good time and he just enjoyed so many of the shows and stuff that they had there. So he was completely entertained, and it didn't matter that he was in his 70s when we went. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed watching us too, seeing that we were having such a good time. But I wouldn't trade that time. It was great.
And I think that's what it is and when we do those things, that's what we did with Christy's family. And when you have relationships, when you have marriages, partnerships, whatever term you want to use for it, the other family's involved to some degree, or usually. And so for me, even that was a really neat experience because in all the time I've been with Christy, it's very rare that her dad and I were ever alone. Very rare. And we're getting a snack and we turn around and I don't know where Christy, her mom and brother went. And it was just him and I. And we kind of both just looked at each other and we started having a conversation. We were people watching and he just was having the best time looking at people and we just talked. And so it was important to me because I knew it would be important to Christy too. And when we have a relationship with each other, it still is more than us because it's the people who we already had in our life and who we bring into our life. And Christy, born and raised a city girl, and she marries me. And I was born and raised in the small, small farming community. Go out to the farm and it was like
learning a whole bunch of new stuff.
Love my parents that to them, Christy was just their daughter-in-law. And that's how my parents introduced her. And trust me, they treated her just like one of the kids. If it was go out and do this outside, it was like, go on, Christy, you too.
Yeah, we did lots of irrigating and burning ditches and all kinds of things I had never done before. So, yeah.
So it was quite the experience. But once again, it was something that we shared. And, so she got to see a part of my life and what that was like. And then we went back home to her place and where she grew up in the Quad Cities and showed me around there. And because then I got to see her life growing up. And it was, once again, it just gave me more information, and more that we could share. And that's what it is. It's the exchange of our lives, where we came from. And because where all of us come from is that place, we each have our own individual place and then we get together with somebody and then we're incorporating things together.
And I think it kind of helps you understand too, where the other person's coming from. If they have interests that maybe aren't necessarily your cup of tea, but it's sort of like gardening for you. That's not a main interest of mine, but I completely understand why it's important to you.
Gardening is something my mom could grow anything. She was just so amazing when it came to plants and stuff. And it's something that I would do when I lived back home. I would go, my mom and I would do a lot of gardening. So it does hold a very special place in my heart. And what I love is that Christy understands that and appreciates it, the value of it.
Yeah.
And so a gardener, she is not. No. But she likes the finished products. She'll go get me this and go get me that. And the first time, probably not with so much enthusiasm.
No, but I know it's important to you. And I know when it comes that time of year, I see, your excitement about buying the plants that you want to plant and, just those things. So it helps me to understand and want to be a part of the process for you because it's something you enjoy so much.
And I think that's what it is once again, it's learning those little things about each other and truly listening with intention so that you really hear the value of what those people or those things or those moments had to that other person. And then knowing that you can then become more of an active participant in them to the degree that you can.
Yeah. For a good example of that too, I feel like would be like, you know, we were talking about how we like the sports and that. I've never been a huge fan of WWE, but that is something that you enjoy because you grew up watching that with your family. And it's not something that I watch, but you explained to me that why it's important to you. So sometimes even if it's not something that you both can get into, sometimes you just need to give that person some time to enjoy something like that that is important to them.
And I think that's really true. For me, it was something that my family did because my dad really liked it, and my mom did too. But pretty soon, everybody got into it. My oldest brother, my parents would leave and he'd clear the room and he'd make us wrestle like we were, and it became like a family thing. And so I no longer have my oldest brother. And so that's a really important thing for me. And once again, because we did that with intention, we talk about those things. Why do they have value? And then we can incorporate that into our relationship. And then what we do is we keep those people involved in our lives, whether they're here physically or not. So I think those things are really important because it just expands on that growth within the relationship. It really does. It just really helps us to know where people are coming from and how we can be a part of that. And those are things as couples you don't have to, but I would recommend that you do is talk about those things that had value to you, incorporate them today, but have the other person understand why they have value to you so that that thing can then have value to them. Maybe not in the same way, but it becomes a shared experience. We're fortunate because we have so many amazing friendships. And with these friendships, we've been able to do some really great things. Our neighbor, June, just went to Disney with her and had this amazing moment. And this is how moments build on moments in relationships. Her daughter was 10 or 11, something, I don't know. She was young. And so we went to Disney World with them and the timing could not have been more perfect. We get there right as Magic Kingdom is having their show in the evening. I was excited about this and I'm expecting Jiminy Cricket to come out because he starts the thing. And so Joy's standing next to me and she's just got this look of wonderment in her eyes. It was the most amazing thing to watch this through her eyes. Well, out came Tinkerbell instead of Jiminy Cricket. Tinkerbell is one of my favorites. Well, it's Joy's too. We had this moment where we were both so excited. It was like we were both two little kids and we grab each other's hands and we're just like, oh my God, this is awesome. It was such a moment. So fast forward, when Joy turned 18 years old.
We made another trip to Disney. That's what she wanted to do.
And she wanted us to be a part of it. That's those moments that build on the next moment. And then, you fast forward 6 or 8 years and we got to build another moment in those relationships. And it was just such an amazing time.
And making those memories with those people, and you get to revisit those times later, and it just makes those relationships, I feel like, continue to get stronger. Even like for that first trip, how you were saying you were so excited standing there with Joy. I was standing there with my sister who hadn't been to Disney World before, and it didn't matter that she was an adult by that time. We were two little kids standing there.
Exactly. And then we have June, who saw Mickey Mouse, and oh my goodness, we still tease her to this day because she would be a groupie for Mickey. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We had breakfast with the characters, and when she saw Mickey, it was like
she just got so excited.
And once again, everything is a building block for the next thing, for the next moment, for the next adventure. And once again, adventures can happen somewhere else in the world, or they can happen in your backyard.
Can be happen unexpectedly on a hike.
Yes. When we were in Yellowstone, when we got this is with our friend Kathy, who's another new traveling buddy with, and we're just really, really, really enjoying this with her because she's that outdoorsy type. She hikes, she bikes, she does all this. We're not into biking. No. And, she has to go find somebody else to do that. But when we went to Yellowstone, seeing, once again, I was there before, I experienced it, and I suggested this to them. And there was a part of me that says, oh man, what if we go and it's not the same for them as my experience? Because I loved the outdoors. I loved, just the animals, everything. So there's a little anxiety there. But we get there. And our thing was to go hiking every day, which was amazing. And so we take this one hike. It's beautiful. There's a lake with all the lily pads and beautiful. And we just keep following it. And, quarter mile, 0.4 miles or whatever. We're walking. Okay, well, that seems like a lot, but we keep walking. So we're kind of lost, I guess you would say.
Yeah, we were lost, but we were lost in a beautiful wooded forest that was just amazing. Just the mossy trees and just wildflowers everywhere. And it was just beautiful.
It almost had like a magical moment. It had that feel to it. It was almost like surreal.
It looked like a fairy tale.
Yes. And we just kept going, though. We'd eventually get to the end, or we were really hoping we would get to the end.
We eventually got to a main road.
Yes. So sometimes, it's those experiences, once again, taking somebody to the place you've been and letting them have their experience. And then it becomes your guys' experience together. Sharing those things, how in building those relationships, it really helps to know that your experience mattered before, and it even matters different. It still matters, but in a different way, because you're sharing it with those people that you love. You're sharing it with people that matter to you. And to me, those are some of the neatest things that we've done. Once again, going to Vegas, going to Mexico, the places that we go back to. Your mom had the twins, and they're from Alabama, so a small town. And we went back and said, they'd never seen the ocean. So we got to see them see the ocean for the first time.
So we took them to the ocean in Panama City, Florida, and then we ended up taking them to the ocean in California too. So they got to see both coasts. And those girls, I think, really loved the experience of traveling. We ended up taking them to Las Vegas too, and they're a part of one of our pictures on our sleeve, on our tattoo, commemorates that trip as well.
Yeah, and I think the thing is hopefully we put the traveling bug in them, but I think what it did too is it even helped our relationship with them. I know that we have that memory of those times, and I know they do, and they can go back to those memories. It's those joyful things. It's those joyful memories that we have that, regardless of what's going on in our life, we can all sit back and we can recall those memories. And it takes us to that place. It takes us to that moment. And when you can create a lot of moments with the person that you live, you think about, even in those moments where maybe stuff is not going well, you can pause and take yourself to those moments that were joyful. And as a reminder of why we're in these relationships. It's not just about heartache. It's not just about that. It's about those joyful moments that we create. It's about the memories that we make with the people that are important to us. And sometimes, because Christy and I do not have children. So for us, one of the things that we share in this relationship is we like to share experiences with other people. It really means something to me.
I feel like it really enhances the experience.
And I agree. I think it just it's this amazing bonding moment. And we bond, and when we bond around something, it once again strengthens those relationships. We're pretty excited because not this weekend, next weekend, we're actually going back to the San Luis Valley. And we're taking, a few of our friends are going, 2 for sure. One, we're iffy on, the other, Kathy, but hopefully she can go. Because we want to experience that. I want them to see where I come from and experience that. It's a beautiful location. Of course, we'll go do some hiking because Kathy G will be there.
Hopefully hit up
And,
the hot springs.
Yeah, and Heather's into hiking now. So you find those people that have those same commonalities with you. But sometimes, even if they don't, you share that experience and it might become something for them. Just as with Christy and I, stuff that she loves, music, we talked about that. She's more, I have learned to really appreciate it now. And I'm grateful for that. But rap music.
Yeah, I enjoy listening to rap music. And that wasn't something that I feel like we're really interested in to start with, but
it wasn't that I wasn't interested. It wouldn't have been on my top 3 genres, say, if I had to put it that way. But she really loves it. And we listen to it more and more. Oftentimes it's part of our morning workout some days. Depends on what Christy's in the mood for that day.
I can even do yoga to rap. So. And have at times.
Which is okay. No worries there. But we're excited to, one of the things we talk about that's important to our relationship is giving back to the community. How do we do that? We try to pick different things that we do. We will do local farmers markets or we'll do things like that. This Saturday, we're actually going to a concert. It's a friend of ours. He's a rapper. Do a little shout out to B. Moza. He's going to be performing and he's a local and that's important to us. Not just because we consider him a friend and his family part of our circle. It's because he's good. And because now I really appreciate rap in a much different way. So it makes it that much more enjoyable. And it's something that when then Chrissy and I talk about.
We like supporting our friends in that, but it's not even just about that either. We like supporting people in the community that are just getting their start and, really trying to do something to be successful. And we like to promote that as much as we can.
Absolutely. The other thing we did is to promote locally is we have a soccer team here called the Switchbacks. And just so you know, Christy and I know zero. And when I say zero, I mean nothing about soccer other than the fact that there's a goal and they have to kick the ball in it. Other than that, we have no idea. But, they opened a new stadium here and we said, you know what, that's going to be the thing we're going to support. So we bought some flex tickets and stuff like that. We've been to a couple of games. It was really great. I really appreciated my sister went with us. So that was really a great moment that we created with her. We've done a concert there and I'm going to do a little shout out to my spouse here on August 7th. She is actually going to be performing the national anthem at the Switchback soccer game. Talk about stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, overcoming fear has been part of our thing through this whole process. And so it took some courage for me to do that, but I submitted my audition and decided to give it a shot. And so I guess that's what I'll be doing on August 7th.
And so she got selected. And once again, we talk about, that's one of the other things that we share is this is our year of overcoming fears. And we're doing this together. So we each have our own fears. They're not the same. I don't have a fear of singing because it ain't going to happen. So I can be real clear about that. But we had a little bit of fear about doing this podcast, because they're like, I don't know, why would people want to listen to us? All of these kind of things that go on. And we said, we're both going to go and we're going to grab each other's hands and we're going to take a leap of faith and we're going to do it. And, so far we've actually been enjoying it. And, we encourage you to give us some feedback on the Facebook page. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you guys. And once again, that's it then becomes about building that relationship. And, it's that ripple effect once again. And this is something that I think is helping also to strengthen our relationship is doing something that we were both afraid of and doing it together.
And maybe listening to a podcast together brings up, time for you guys to spend and encourage conversation. And that's what we're really hoping. I know one of the things that Sharon and I do too, and this is going to sound strange probably to some, but we like to read books together. Not all the time. I mean, we read books individually, but sometimes we read to one another. And we just talk about the book and just enjoy it. It's been such a neat experience.
And I know some people out there saying, dang, those two are nerdy. And we are probably a little nerdy. But one of the things we do is and when she says that is if there's a particular book that we not a novel. It kind of depends, but I'll read a chapter to her. We'll talk about it a little bit. She'll read the next chapter to me and we'll talk about it a little bit. And once again, it's just one of those things that we started. Actually, she would do, and we started it because, once again, she's not a gardener, but I would be out gardening and she'd be reading a book to me and we would just do this. And it was just an amazing thing. And we love it.
It just became a thing that we continued to do. So,
yeah. So finding those things today, maybe gaming. Once again, remember, we're not gamers, but we can read. We love reading to each other and things like that. But it's finding those things. The other thing that we absolutely love, and that is stargazing. And we did this so much in the valley. It's a little bit harder where we live now because we live in we live in the city and that. But that I am so excited for this coming weekend, not this weekend, next weekend when we go back to the valley, because the stars, and I want to share that experience. We want to share that experience with the ladies of, Heather lived in the valley, so that's a little bit different, but Kathy, that's an experience we want to share with them. And it's something that we have such a passion for. So I got a new gift.
Some night vision binoculars so we can see what's going on.
I don't know if we want to know what's going on, but we're going to know what's going on. So that's one of the other things that we're really excited about. Once again, it's one of those things that we love. I think you probably learn to appreciate stars more after living in the valley just because
the sky is so clear there. And well, even I believe that the Sand Dunes National Park has been declared one of the dark parks.
Yes.
It's great for stargazing.
Real quickly, we shared an experience like that with her sister. Her sister, once again, from the Quad Cities, the first time she came to the valley, it was for when Christy and I were getting married, and because she was in the wedding. We're driving through town, and they're herding the cattle. And
she was having a freak out moment. She had not seen that before. And of course, they're walking in front of the vehicle all slow. And she was just having a freak out moment over that.
Like, oh my God, this really happens?
Herding cattle across the road? This is unheard of.
And then fast forward, she's back again. And we're out. We'd gone to the Hooper Pool and had some fun time there. And then we went to... yes, the UFO Watchtower. They do have that in the San Luis Valley. And we go there and it's dark. It's a beautiful, beautiful night. And we're laying out looking at the stars. And she looks up.
And she was like, this is just sick. There's so many stars. I mean, just billions. It was just like being in space.
And she goes, her response was, I thought this only happened in the movies. I didn't think this was real.
Yeah.
And so we're just enjoying this. And then we're standing out at the car, just kind of looking around, and Christy sees something out of the corner of her eye, and I kind of saw it too, like a shadow. Scared us a little bit. Well, her sister and brother jump in the car. This is how, sometimes people don't have your back, even if they love you.
No, they jumped in the car and locked the door and wouldn't let us in. So I thought I had to use my mom and Sharon as a ladder and climb on top of the car.
Yeah, no regard for us. And then we started laughing when we realized it was a cat. So we got all scared about a cat. But the thing is that, and sharing these stories and stuff is maybe giving you guys some ideas about what are the things you can do in your relationships. What are the fun stuff you can do, whether it's at home or traveling or just finding those different things that you guys can connect with and just build a stronger relationship with and just really enjoy your time together. And remembering that sometimes you might have an idea of something you like and you may be hesitant to say it because you don't know how the other person's going to respond or react to it. But sometimes you just say it and then see if they'll come along on your journey and learn a little bit more about you based on the things that you love to do.
And I think that in doing that, you'll find that it just enriches the relationship. It's just makes it even more fulfilling because you get to share those parts of you. And even if it's, not a shared interest or that, giving that person the space and understanding to know why they enjoy that so much, I feel like brings so much more to the relationship.
So maybe take some time, have those conversations, explore new things that you may have thought about liking, but haven't tried them yet. doing with the person that you love, doing with the person that you're building relationships with. Yes, keep an open mind, be a little fearless, take that time. Relationships and the people that we love are so important to us. Sharing experiences, making memories, that's what we can do. That's what we do to strengthen them. That's what we do to make them more valuable, more sustainable, all of those things that are so important.
It just brings more quality to life.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to have a good quality of life. And hopefully from talking today, once again, you guys can explore stuff and come up with ideas and really look at making your relationship fun, because there's always going to be those things that are going to happen, but we get to control some of that. And some of it is creating those moments, sharing those moments with the person that you love, building that relationship. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and go to the Facebook page and leave your comments, and we appreciate listening to what you guys have to say. So thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.